Welcome to episode 0 of the BJJ and Biz podcast. I am Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer. I'm still the Sales Whisperer. I'm your host. Let me see here. I had this pulled up for over 12 years. I'm going to publish episode 725, which is quite appropriate on the sales podcast. That will be with Roger Bauer. I did my first podcast ever with him in 2009. So I'll publish that. That'll be the last one of the sales podcast. And we're getting into AI as I have been over the last several episodes. But I'm doing a rebranding. I last month got my black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu after 8.5 years, 5-6 days a week, 90-minute classes. I've been helping teach as well. I'm 55 years old. Been at this game a long time. Got into sales in 1997 when I left the Air Force and started the Sales Whisperer in 2006, trademarked it. I've made a lot of money doing sales training, delivered my first keynote talk. I was paid a deposit in the summer of 2010, delivered that in Vegas in 2011. Been flown to Europe, all over the U.S., done hundreds and hundreds of webinars or podcasts, about 900, but I kind of lost count. So I've been at this a long time, working with CRMs, written a book on CRMs. But they say in business, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And as salespeople, we want to do business with people we know, like, and trust, or at least we're looking for that common ground, right? And so why not merge your passions, your hobbies, your interests with your business? A few years ago, I started helping a guy run some 3-day retreats for businessmen, and we were good at it. And then I went to an 8-day jiu-jitsu conference, 8 days of training in Maine. And it was glorious. I've been twice. So my goal is to go back every year. But seeing these kind of events, seeing hundreds of individuals come out for 8 days, seeing men in the men's group I was helping to lead, see 15, 20, 25, now 30, 40 men show up for 3 grueling days of discovery and deep work, and see them pay thousands upon $1,000 for this. I realized I like doing those kind of things. I like leading retreats. I like going hands-on. I've been saying on the sales podcast for quite some time that humanity is the next killer app ever since COVID and working from home. But, it was already a thing with high-speed internet and social media. But COVID and the working from home movement really accelerated us crawling into our caves and isolating from one another. And now with AI and deep fakes, and nobody trusts anything that they see anymore. And we're overwhelmed with noise, with introductions. And every day you see people talking about, build content, build, a month worth, a year's worth of content in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Do we really need more content? Like, look at jiu-jitsu. Do I need more content or do I need more reps? Get better at the few things that I'm decent at. And so I'm blending the two. Right? I'm blending my passion of jiu-jitsu with sales training, with marketing, with, working with entrepreneurs, salespeople, small business owners, sales leaders to grow as humans, grow as people, grow as leaders, as producers, as parents, as friends, and jiu-jitsu partners. Okay. So the shift, it may be subtle, may be abrupt, but I'm still going to have on guests to talk about business and sales and marketing. But I'm going to be emphasizing a whole lot more the jiu-jitsu angle, and I'm probably going to be soliciting, experts, in business that also do jiu-jitsu. So let's help one another. Right? Let's scratch our brothers and sisters' backs. Although we can't really scratch the sisters' back, because everything's sexist and Me Too. But I digress. You get the point. That's the cool thing with jiu-jitsu too. Women are tough. As long as you're not a creep, like, they just want to be treated the same, and they should. They're a good partner, roll with them. But I digress. The goal again is to work with people that I know, like, and trust. And I've traveled the world. I've trained out of the country once in Buenos Aires with my son many years ago. I was a white belt. That was 2017. He now trains. He's almost 2 years into it. My second son just got his brown belt when I got my black belt, so he's been at it a little bit longer. So there's a common language, a common unspoken attitude with, between and among jiu-jitsu practitioners. We understand the grind. We understand you can never master it. We're willing to sacrifice, put in the reps. We know what it means to be a good partner. Sometimes that means go easy. Sometimes it means go hard. And there are no shortcuts in this. I've literally interviewed 700, well, probably more than that because I have the CRM Sushi podcast as well. So 750 founders, leaders, experts in sales, marketing, and SaaS, investors, millionaires, people have gone bankrupt and built it back. New York Times bestselling authors, people with patents, mini patents. I mean, so smart people. And I started this and I've done it consistently since 2013. I've not found the shortcut yet. It's putting in the reps, putting in the time. Rookies practice something until they get it right. Professionals practice it until they can't get it wrong. Jiu-Jitsu, it's always evolving. Business and sales, it's always evolving. But in both, there are fundamentals. We have new people come in and even people that have been there for a minute. I'm helping with classes and seeing warm-ups, and we'll shrimp, back and forth. And I'll work with them like, do you know why we shrimp? Do you know how to shrimp? Do you know how to escape the hips? Why you do it? Where should your arms be? Where should your hips be? Where do you put your feet for maximum leverage? Why do we do bridges? What's the risk of doing a bridge? How do you do it properly? So there are fundamentals that'll never change. And, my instructor, he was number one in the world in 2017, 2018. And I've never beaten that dude. And out of the 1,000 times that he's tapped me, I don't think any of them were fancy. An arm bar from closed guard. I mean, shoulder wrap, arm wrap, throat punch. I mean, pressure back in the day. I would say it's embarrassing, but everybody that's new taps from pressure in the beginning. But my instructor, he is 5 years older than me, but about 70 pounds lighter, would tap me from pressure. It's the fundamentals. I've told the story many times. When COVID hit, BJJ Fanatics threw out a cool little thing to stay in front of the market, and they gave away a free video. They're like, hey, you're at home, blah, blah, blah. Here, take this video. And then as soon as you completed that purchase, they gave you a 50% off a second one. So, okay, I took them up on that. That was a fair deal, right? Now they made money. I thanked them for their offer. And I remember one of those videos was 90 minutes long, and I watched it. I watched it for 90 minutes, but only got through half of it. Stopping and rewinding. And I watched it right up to the time we were able to go back and train, because we would sneak back into the gym and train anyway. And so I went to a morning class, 6 a.m. And so we started sparring, and boom, within 6 seconds, I screwed up the move. I had to stop, grab my phone, open the account. Like, oh, what is this? So I didn't need more. I didn't need to watch that video more. I needed to go hands-on. Everything in life, jiu-jitsu, football, prospecting, public speaking, golf, anything I ever got good at, I recorded myself and I did it with a mentor. All right. So that's what I'm going to build here, is helping individuals. And look, if you don't do jiu-jitsu, it doesn't mean I won't work with you. But just understand, I'm coming at this from a jiu-jitsu standpoint, the analogies, the stories. And if you don't do jiu-jitsu, what the hell's wrong with you? Get on the mats. So I just want to do this as an intro. And I learned this, years ago doing podcasting. It's good to have an intro. Your intro, and if you're starting new on podcasting, have an intro, and then have 4, 5, 6, even, up to 10 in the can, so you can front end load. So I'm just changing names, and I'm going to keep going. But, you should do the intro, release 2, maybe even 3 right away, then 1 a day for 4 or 5 days. I've heard different recommendations, but you want to front end load it and get people interested. So if you did, the intro, let's say 3 on the first day, and then, 1 a day for the next 5. So there's 8. Then you want to have 1 ready if you're going to go on weekly cadence. If you had 2 or 3 more to go, are already done, that gets you through 2 weeks. And then you should be in a rhythm after that of making them. But again, I digress. Just a little side note, a little nugget if you are interested in doing that. But, I work again with individuals. I've got, I'm going to be doing live workshops with the BJJ and Biz. So if you would like me to come to your city and you can help me promote it, you get some people in a room. We're going to do, it's a hybrid, right? We're going to do jiu-jitsu in the morning, sales training at night, masterminds, networking, 2.5 days, 3 days. I've got a couple of different agendas that I think can work. So if you'd like me to come to your area, let me know. And but if you're interested in business help, right, sales training, copywriting, marketing, CRM, build out systems, sequences, processes, that's how my brain works. All right, that's what I do. That's what I've done for a long time. I did a little bit of that in the Air Force. I've done it in sales for decades. Long as I got gray in this stash. But hey, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Please subscribe, like, comment, share. Hit me up. I've got links to my calendar, links to my WhatsApp, my cell phone. I'm not hard to reach. I do want to help you. All right. Thanks for watching. I'll go sell something.